This is Me, I Am Mental, the podcast. A quick disclaimer. The content you find here is neither intended to be therapy or diagnosis. It is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to yet another episode of Me, I Am Mental, the podcast, where we endeavor to bring you factual, credible, useful, and engaging content on mental health. Mental health is an interesting, emerging sort of area, drawing a lot of interest all around. We're trying to contribute our voices in the conversations on mental health. We are not experts per se, but that nonetheless, we believe that the more people speak to this space, the better society will be. And that there is our little promise, really, our little vision. Before we get into today's conversation, which I promise you is going to be really, really, really interesting, and the conversation is on mental health in the advertising industry. We will get to that in due course. A few housekeeping issues. Firstly, Darren is not there with us today. Last week, he was the, what's that thing, when somebody is a leading act in a comedy? What do you call it?
Is he a filler?
No, he was the main guy he's the main
star.
act. He was starring in a stand-up, which went very, very well. Today, he happens to be the host at another show. So he had to leave it to us. We wish him very well while he is at it. We'd like to invite you, our audience, to support us in this endeavor by subscribing, liking, sharing our content as much as you can, and even engaging with us if you want. It would be good to know your thoughts and feelings. And if you want to contribute in any way, particularly even participating in this podcast as a guest, you would be welcome. You would find us on meiammental.me. That is our website. It is where all our information is, but we are also available on all social media platforms. On our website, there is more than just, we have articles which you can engage with. We also have the podcasts. We have all the episodes we've done in the past. There's a playlist there. We are inviting people to also contribute in terms of articles and other conversations. So all that information is available in there, and we hope that together with your engagement, we can have more robust and meaningful conversations in this space. Typically, Darren does that bit, and he does a much better job of it. But yeah, it's fallen on me today, and I hope I have discharged that okay. Mm-hmm. So our guest is one gentleman called Michael Wambua. He has another name, Musimi. He said we cannot shorten the other two, Wambua and Musimi, so we'll just work with Mike.
Yeah, it's very hard to shorten both.
So karibu sana, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
We always want our audience to get to know a bit about our guest. Mm-hmm. Yani mahali mtu alianzia.
Yes.
How they grew up, how they became this jitu la mtu. Yeah. That story. Yeah. so that a human being is relatable.
It's true.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'll take you back to the early days of 1980s. I grew up in Umoja. Shout out to everybody from Umoja. I'm pretty much a basic environment for any kid to grow up in. We had friends, we had our pets. The world seemed to be enough, to be big enough for us to manage our expectations in life. We didn't see ourselves to be unfortunate. We had, I think, everything. If it was a basic amenities, we had good schools, and Umo just changed a bit right now, but it's still a place that I would envision that anybody who sees themselves there would imagine that they still have hope in life, not what we perceive it to be.
Right now.
Yeah. Went to 2 boarding schools. Started boarding schools quite early. If my mom is listening to this, I know you have a different objective why I went to boarding school. And finished in Machakos High School. I did my Form 4. Ended up going to Kenya Poly and doing multiple other colleges. So I tried also to do a para, and but through time, basically, we found ourselves, I found myself very much interested in getting into the creative world. I think my first exposure was winning a national award for working on the KDN, Kenya Data Networks logo, and winning it, competing with guys from agency. I think I walked in with, and my dad thought I was nuts. I drew it on paper, and I went with my stylus and my box, waited in the boardroom, the waiting where everybody was waiting to pitch, and that's when I realized this world of creative is actually bigger than I envisioned. I was those guys who will doodle the matatus in classroom, people tell me, there's a new matri in our hood. Can you chorea for me? It's Jordan 28. If you grew in Buru, you know what you're talking about, yeah? So those doodling ended up taking me outside the boardroom, a big corporation, with my first tie, which was my dad's tie. And I didn't know what pitching is, but that was my first pitch. That was my first experience getting into the creative world, advertising world. And I walked into this pitch. I saw a bunch of grown-ups. I didn't feel intimidated as much. I'd met similar councils before, in different capacities. So brought my case forward. I'd printed about 5 copies of it. So I didn't imagine I was going to have a room of 15 guys. So the 5 copies had to suffice. And they told me to explain my idea. And to date, what you see as a KDN logo came out from what I'd envisioned as a logo for it. And from there, my journey started.
When was this? And at which stage was this? Were you in college?
Yes, I was just about to start choosing. I just finished Form 4. So you're at home, a newspaper comes, your dad knows that you've always been asking for all manner of art stuff. So I'll paint. I even sent a picture to Tupac, if you remember Tupac. Yeah, I actually made him go and post it all the way to the poster and send it to him. I don't know if you ever got it. Tupac, I know if you're out there, man. Yeah, talk to me. So I sent it out. Very many of the kids in the hood liked the poster, so I had to do copies of it and sell it also. I ran the school magazine, which was all doodles, cartoon. I did also try to reach out to Nation Media to sell them a full publishing of Superhero, which I had.
Like Flash Gordon.
Yeah, so I had a whole, 14 pages, all drafted out, everything. Well done, well. And I felt like, there's something more to this. I can't just be having this talent and it's just with me. I need to bring it out. So if you had a birthday then, the only thing you got was just a painting or a drawing, something. It had to be something art. So from that point on, I realized that in this industry that I've not even thought of pursuing, I can make this kind of money. Because it didn't take me long to actually do that. Right? It was seamless. They read the script, the brief, and I understood. So from there, it was who actually teaches this kind of thing. It's somebody who's trying to, where do I actually get an institution that understands what I need to do? And that time, I don't think the Buruburu training, the BIFA had started. So the other place that was there was Kenyapoli. But them, it was technical drawing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't graphics, it wasn't advertising.
Yeah.
So they will go there and you'll take hours trying to draft out a plan of grounds, trying to draft, and then do models and everything. So we were just basically at the edge of architectural design. Yeah, and it didn't feel as if it's driving me towards what I feel is there.
Because technical drawing is not exactly creative. It's like a scientific representation of something.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's measurements, there's angles to it. Art is fluid, if you ask me, from my perspective. Yeah, can I always say art is relative. I mean, even that guy for technical drawing might
art.
consider himself to be an artist.
Yes.
But from where I'm sitting is that if I tell you to draw me a rock, I don't expect the rock to have angles, as in measurable angles. It's just a rock. And I'll see it and perceive it as a rock. I might be an addict for rocks. I mean, you never know. So you'd have different ways of how you expect art to be accepted in the society. So here I am trying to figure out what's my next step. Society is pushing me to get into computers. And that also comes with the pressure from the parents. But my burning passion is making me stick to this institution because I really have to nurture my skill. Even though as much as I can feel like I'm in the room with the right people who are also looking for the same, but we're not getting that from...
Oh, so not just you, a number of you actually felt like this is almost
there, but it's not it, and it's very hard because you're already like deep down committed fees, and parents are like, we can't go back again to this issue of an
what do you want to
institution.
do?
Yes.
And where?
Just as I was going on, that's when I realized in UON, which was not what I was called for, they have fine art as a course. So you can imagine the disappointment I had that now for parents who are struggling, first of all, to get me into this college, with all financial aspects and everything, now trying to tell them, hey,
just next.
Yeah, just I need to leave this and go there. So it wasn't a discussion that I thought would actually go well.
Yeah.
So I had to figure myself out. So in Tao, there's these guys who we used to go to when we were looking at the projects that we were given. So the way you find, I think nowadays if you go to downtown, you'll find that those guys who have past papers.
Oh yes, yes.
They know like Migori's past papers or cuts that they did. They'll print them for you. So if you're a parent who's looking for who has a kid who's about to go to do his class 8 or form 4, you have to be that parent who goes to those guys, because they'll print you all manner of papers, give your kid to try them out. In our side, we had those guys who were ready to take your project and help you perfect it, because you need to pass. But what these guys were doing when we were not doing papers is that they were the guys who were making the business cards for clients. They were the guys who were doing logos out there.
I see.
They were making money. So you'll go to their office, they have plotters, they have computers. They're not talking about you. They're not talking as if they pass through your institute. These are like street taught guys. They have installed software which is called Corel. You've never had that. You hear something about Adobe.
Yes.
You have never had that. They're using computers to draw a mouse. This mouse is not easy to draw. Yeah.
You're still.
Yeah, me and pencil and rod trims and all like there's ScienceScope. If you go to ScienceScope in CBD, you'll find that a rod trim is more expensive than a keyboard and a mouse combined.
Wow.
And it's something that has to be there when you're in class. And you know how pens get lost in schools, yeah? So you'll find that, yes, you've gone with the rod trim, but 2 months down the lane, you don't even know what happened to yours, So here are guys who are making a living. They seem to have figured it out. They're talking about ads. They're talking about posters, campaigns, and all kind of juggle and everything. So we invested. I remember me and my friend, it's called Musembi. We invested time to spend with these guys. Like we became their kadaya moko. So after school, we'll end up with them. And these guys, I remember one of them, is a very good friend still to me right now. It's called Jesse Ndaiga.
Oh, Jesse.
Yeah.
Of course I know Jesse.
Yeah, so if you've been seeing stuff for Art Cafe, he's been behind the magic behind that. And we started that stuff a long while back. So and he happened to also live where I was, in Rye, where we had moved to. So he exposed me to this world of where, he didn't go to any of these schools. He just had the skill and the know-how to figure himself out, YouTube was very expensive. If you remember, I think the cheapest cyber then was at Barclays Plaza, and it was like
$5
per
minute or something.
I think there was Barclays, because it was fast. Remember when I was paying 25 shillings per minute?
Wow, yeah.
Because it was fast.
Yeah.
And then we were not so unfortunate in a way, in terms of we could afford rent. Can you imagine in Tao? Right now, I don't know how many people can actually envision that period. I think everybody right now is capable of affording being in CBD and owning a space. But it was so hard to find even a corner where you could just put a comp in town. Because you'll be asked 50,000 or 25,000, and then sujui goodwill, and then sujui rent. I don't know if goodwill still remains in your field. I don't know if you guys still. So we were like, wow, we actually can do this. So we found ourselves going for small businesses, and it was making so much sense because it was rewarding. I'm creating something, and I'm earning from it.
Yes.
I don't have to go buy wood or metal to actually do something with it. I don't have to purchase. It's coming from my mind, and I just need a computer and my pen and my paper, and I'll draw something. From what the client envisions, what they want, create it, get the approval, produce it, and get paid. Then the world of websites came, where now you didn't even have to print anything. You had just to understand, how do you convert your creative thing that you have drawn to numbers that are not even tangible, and get to be paid. And it was actually top bucks, because then people will talk about, hey, I'll do a website for a month. Hey, I'll do a website for 6 months. Guy gets paid ridiculous amounts of money. Remember a guy used to be called Carl. Carl, if you hear this, forgive me. Carl was making a fortune. Carl was, we used to call him the master of deposits. He used to know how to manage deposits, man. He had 50 guys giving him deposit to start websites, knowing he's going to work on that one when that client is coming. You walk in, that's when he's touching your website. And you'll stay there. every client has been given 3 months deadlines. And Carl is hitting Mombasa, he's living the life there. Yeah, I was like, Carl, how do you live on deposits? It's like, hey, just get that one client, pay your deposit, get the next one. So we used to call him master of deposit. Yeah, and he would be, all sorts of, cases, delays and everything. And he was really good. If you pressure him, he'll actually get some really good work done. But it will take you time. You have to be very patient. And then he had the big clients.
There's a part of me that likes Carl.
He used to be a master of deposit. And you will get the best paying clients. As in, you would hear names that I can't even mention here, man, coming in and saying, this is the guy
who's going to do
our website. He has a 5-page contracts from this big organization. Carl takes the deposits, Next thing, Carl is talking to you guys in Mombasa. He's talking about how hard he's getting internet. And I don't know if you ever finished all those websites, because there were many. There were so many. So there was a gap. There was a gap of good creatives
Yes.
who were legitimately willing to actually do good work to their clients, meet their clients' deadlines, and also brought in modern ways of actually getting work done and adapting to the website time. So I ended up, after clearing that, I ended up, while I was still in school, I ended up starting in Joy Freto. Joy Freto was part of Consumer Insight. And that's the first time I actually worked in an environment where it didn't feel like we're just
Winging it.
Nasibu.
Yes.
This time I ended up in an environment.
Proper corporate
I remember-
structures, systems.
This was Jackie's. Jackie was our head. She was the one of the business. She called Jackie Marty, and oh my Lord, this woman was organized. She embedded the fact that you have to be principled also in creative. It's not just fun and all, yeah. Jackie, I remember there was a story which was in the industry that her first time she went to ask for a job, the way people say, come with your portfolio, she told those guys, you have to pay to see my portfolio. And they were shocked. You are coming to us for work. Why are you telling us to pay for your portfolio to see it? And you're like, no. Whatever you might see there, you might steal it. I didn't walk in here with an NDA. I don't know you guys. So you're going to pay to see my portfolio. And I think they took it so serious, they actually committed to pay some. I don't think they were prepared immediately then, but I think they committed and they did something. So we're getting into Jackie's world is that she's not that old, she was young. I think she was like a few years older than me then. And she's been able to structure an agency that works for an already existing organization called Consumer Insight, which was giving out data for how consumers are behaving with products out there. So Jackie comes and figures out that, you guys need creative stuff done daily. When you're talking to Coca-Cola, when you're talking to Kensel then, when you're talking to BAT, you need your PowerPoints to look attractive. I'm that person. And I can't do all this stuff by myself. I'll hire people. So she got a space next to the client, a whole office, and gave us an opportunity. And she was making top bucks. So our work was like, at some point it felt like a sausage factory, like just the same. Because it was PowerPoint after PowerPoint after PowerPoint after PowerPoint. But the pressure was that every time you had to be creative, because the campaign that you are referring to is different. And then you have to, and that's why I met this thing called brand guides. Red for KCB is not the same red for Safaricom. I mean, the green. Green for KCB is not the same green for Safaricom, That's when I started realizing, so even the red for Coca-Cola is not the red for this. So, and then the fonts, I was like, no, you have to stick to this font. A very good friend of mine who passed, is called Mark Mwema, is the guy who guided me. He was very moody. Always. Always. Which is actually one of the major aspects about what we're going to talk about. Yes. He had very few happy days because of the pressure. You go in the morning. I think the earliest we had to be there was from, I think, 7:30 there. Yeah. And guys by the time you sit down like this, your tray is already up. And Consumer Insight had like account managers who were managing multiple organizations. We're talking about from Tanzania all the way to Uganda. All of them being fed statistics. If it's Kimbo, Blue Band, name it, Unilever, you can imagine all those products regularly having to be updated how they're performing in the market from Consumer Insight. So before they're fed that information, you just don't send an email. It has to be worked on a PowerPoint, dressed very well, looks the brand, and then send it out. And that, what you send it out, you don't send it out to client directly. You have, first of all, to send to your immediate boss, who gets now to be seen by the other boss, and then now released. And there's multiple changes in between. And then by the time it gets now to the account manager, they have also to give feedback, which also is relayed the same channels. So what you thought you had finished could probably not be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because the feedback.
The feedback are many. And there's nobody who's going to filter that for you. If it's you who's dealing with Coca-Cola throughout the day. And then there's different variations. So you're dealing with Sprite, dealing with Fanta here, that's your account. And at the end of the line, you're the one who's meant to articulate and arrange this juggle that these guys have given you. So in pie charts, you have the guys writing numbers, So you have to define if it's a graph, if it's pie chart, it's what. Then you have to refer to the brand guide that Coca-Cola has made somewhere across the world, and they have not called you for training, that you have to decipher because it's changed yesterday. You don't have time. They've just sent it out to email. They said, hey, we're adapting to this new font. Nobody's going to wait. And if you send it to the end and it has the wrong font, it comes back because they want to use it to present at their end also. That's Coca-Cola. So all that pressure is put on you. Very few sunlight moment outside because our meals was you either have it at your desk because that luxury of having to step out and, everybody's looking at you like, how dare you? We're time bad.
So let me just pause you there a bit. So this was very early on in your career,
very early on.
Just when you moved from your kiosk.
Yes, and now I'm excited now. Yes, I'm really excited.
And then you're put into this meat grinder space, right?
Yes.
And what I also hear you to say is, for the first time, you come across creativity that is structured.
Yes.
But the demands, just because of also the guidelines that clients have, the demands on you are incredible.
Exactly.
So you move from this freewheeling space where you are creating your own thing.
Yeah, you're having fun. You can even turn down projects if there's too much pressure, Here, there's nothing of that sort. Okay. It lands, it's hot, it has to go out. There was some good moments. There's a guy we're working who's called Bob. Still, to me, one of the most fantastic creative people I've ever come across. If you've watched Ice Age,
yes,
the cartoon,
yes,
he was the sloth.
Yes,
but in a good way. In a good way. So Bob didn't have the pressure from Jackie because he was literally a bit older and within the business.
Yes,
and he had he was the one who was kind of the guy to go to when you have a mental block.
Yes.
Because this is a creative place where you have to be creative on as you go. You're not being told, because I always say creativity is lazy because it's not time framed. The eureka moment or the this actually looks good could happen whatever. Midnight. You can start today and you can do a painting ask my wife, she knows I do paintings for 5 years because who's rushing? I mean, I feel like I don't have it right now, But then there's a day you wake up and you feel like, today I feel that yellow. I can get it.
Your spirit exactly. Has come down. Yes.
This is Bob was one of those guys who at least gave us hope because he was always talking about things are different there. And you just need to first of all adapt this quick thinking, and then the rest of the world that wants a creative person will get you. Think of this as a training environment.
Yes.
So me and Mark were like, okay, but man, this doesn't feel right. We don't feel like this speed is too much. And
so let me also just now ask another question, because I wanted many of us do not really understand at an agency what exactly goes on there.
Yeah.
You know, we sort of know, we see the products, like
Yes.
maybe something is on a billboard,
Yes.
and we know that you guys were involved
Somehow
in this,
involved in this.
but we don't know
Yeah.
who does what when for that thing to show up on a billboard.
So I'll give you traditional agency. It will be the easiest to explain because it's morphed to so many other ways right now. Yeah. Initially, it used to be you'll get a brief through the accounts manager, the person who's in relation with the client, the person who every day has to find out from the client what are you working on, what can we help you achieve today, is there any upcoming project that you want us to look into. And the client, if they also have, because you'll find that the account manager deals with a marketing department.
Yes.
Right.
The client's marketing
Yes,
department.
the client's marketing department. So they could be working on something, and they draft up a brief, what the product is about, what they're trying to achieve, all the specs to make the creative agency understand what is the output, what are they looking as an output. So are you trying to create awareness for a product? Are you trying to hit a sale of a product? Have you introduced new features to a product that you want people to understand so that they can adapt? So different industries. So in an agency, you'll find the account managers have to wear multiple hats. So today, maybe it's dealing with a hospital. Tomorrow, it's with a bank. Next day is with a manufacturer, right? In the FMCG world, it could be a kid's product, it could be a grown-up product, be a gay product, whatever. But you have to wear a hat to understand how best to relate with this client.
So if
That's
I may
down-
ask
that's-
the account manager,
Yes.
what do you think the best talent, like would be as an account? What would be the best
Is
skill set and
wow.
talent?
I found the account managers who had first a very good human relation aspect.
I see. Interpersonal, yes.
Interpersonal. Like my friend Chris Kamande, I think he even did laundry for clients. He'll go out of his way to make sure that the client is happy.
Chris Paul.
We used to laugh about it, He went above and beyond to make sure, and that's why I think he's been very successful with his life. Yeah,
Yeah. So
he used to go above and beyond, and he'd invest first of all to understand not only the client but also the business itself. So if it's a law firm, I really want to understand what you guys are specialized in, what actually makes you guys be who you are, and help me bring it out with the agency. And an accounts manager is also somebody who's meant to know how to deal with the creatives.
yeah, because they sit between.
There's a lot of fusion.
Yes,
He's buffering. Let me put it this way. There is a lot of fusion accounts managers buffers for the agency.
Okay.
Most of the people actually, and guys, I'm sorry, most of the accounts managers in this world is that they have perfected the art of socializing. And that goes without saying that alcohol is within that sphere.
The lubricant.
Yes, the lubricant is there. Because you have to keep up with the clients. So you can imagine an account manager who's handling like 8 clients. And it's a group of, a team of 10 of each. And they want to break ice constantly because there's always the firefighting on emails. They can be very heated.
And then you need to dampen things down
exactly.
a bit and make
So
guys.
you need that, you need the agency to actually fund that process.
Okay.
So that things don't really fire off. You can't be sending stinkers of time. This artwork is not really what we said. You guys did not understand the brief. You guys are telling us to give you this artwork very late at night, or you're giving a short time. It piles up.
And then you need to diffuse.
You need to diffuse.
And you call guys to a bash.
And that diffusion is constant. So you will find the account managers in kids' parties they didn't want to come to, but they are there smiling and very happy about it. That will be them.
So that is the account manager.
Yes.
And so I think so you have the role of the account manager, and his is to liaise between the client and now the creatives.
The creative.
Who are the creatives and what do they do?
So creatives is a breakdown. In a well set up agency, you will have the DTP guys. The DTP guys are the guys who do all manner of changes. They don't have to be creative. They only correct what has already been done. Font, what spelling was done? What? So they are channers. Those are the guys you never imagine they leave the office. Like you come in today, he's wearing a t-shirt for a product, Kiwi. Tomorrow you come in the same time, the same guy, the same place with headphones, whatever he's listening to, he's wearing a t-shirt for Ngombe or something. And you're like, these things look as if they are from the store. Guess not be checking out from here. They don't look as if they have a life. And most of the time, they're not the guys you'll find at the office party happy. They're always crowded on the side. They're injured, if you ask me. DTV guys were always injured. And then you'll find now the art directors. Art directors are former DTP guys. Now they're coming out from the very dark side of agency.
Sorry, let me there again ask the same question for DTP. What does DTP stand for?
I know the acronym stands for something. Allow me to tell you later. But it's just guys who do a lot of amends. Artwork amends.
So the question is again for them: if we are to identify some sort of skill set or talent, what would be the guy's talent?
They're just good at creatives. No, actually not creatives. They're just guys who can handle. They can do artwork on machines, literally.
Okay.
They're not even meant to be hard. You can think of it as like that mono process in an agency.
Okay.
You want to be in an agency, yeah. We'll start
So
you down the line.
Yes, this is
where you start.
The eye of the needle.
Yeah,
this is how you have to go through this.
Account managers and art directors. No, actually, account managers are more likely to be the guys to say, there's some special skills in this individual. Pull him out from there, put him in an art director's position.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because you have to show resilience. You have to show speed. You have to be the guy who's willing to do those ridiculous hours and just make sure that thing's out. And you're the guy.
Wear branded t-shirts.
Yeah, wear branded t-shirts and never see sunlight. You're vampires because your meals at your desks,
yes.
Your coffees at your desks, you hardly move,
Yes.
And it is a good place to be, but also a bit tough. Sad to say, but it's a place that you can say I think most industries. Let me not even talk about just the agency, but most industries do tend to have a place where you have to nurture the skill set of working in an environment, because you find the DTP guys are very young. It's probably their first job.
Yeah.
They were just lucky enough to start working in an agency, not like guys like me who ended up chokoras in the streets who were trying to figure out. These guys are meant also to understand the salient values of creative world. They are even more exposed than people who are above them. That's the art directors in some aspect, because every manner of creative lands on their desk.
Yeah, I see.
Immediately you go to become an art director, which is like the next level, you are assigned to a creative director. Now, in an agency, you'll find a big agency, like my Chris Madison's place, Densu. You'll find that there's multiple creative directors, and they have all been assigned different accounts. So this is Unilever, that's Safaricom, so whatever you're working on, It's like a silo. You'll never be exposed to what other guys are doing.
I see. Yes.
And you could land to one of the most boring brands ever. Ask anybody who has ever done banking forms. You will learn. It's not that exciting when you're in there. You get an agency, you think the first thing you're going to be doing is, those adverts that you see on the TV and everything. You wake up and you find ruled paper. And you're like, no, you're told this is what's making the business money.
Banking forms.
Yeah, banking forms. And you're looking at it. And then every call that comes in, you're being told, no, you need to put the name on top of the telephone number. You're like, no. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this. This is not what I signed up for. But then you have to do it. You end up with those newspaper ads, which are to some point when you start they're exciting, but then they keep on coming, and you find yourself that I'm really not excited to do the annual report for EABL. I did an ad for EABL. It's on the newspaper. Mom, please check. I did some artwork on EABL on the newspaper. But then I realized my mom will see just lines. And there's no actually creative work over there. She'll not be like, wow, I like it. She'll just look at it and go like, it's the end of year, yeah. Okay. So there's not really some excitement out of that.
Okay.
But that was the art directors, yeah. Whatever your creative director says. But then within the art directors, when also a bit of the pressures start really coming through, because it's very competitive. When Kenya Poly, we were 43 students. We also knew guys who were doing the same, the fine arts in UN. I think the full class was like about 64 guys. And yeah, I'm working, for example, now after I moved from Jeffreto, ended up in Blueprint. I'm working with a team of just 5 guys. And I'm wondering, I feel like I'm in creme de la creme of the agency world. We're working with Ogilvy. Ogilvy is holding the brands like Coca-Cola. And Coca-Cola is not in multiple agencies. It's only in this place. So what are the other guys doing? How many other Coca-Colas are out there? Not so many. So you're wondering what happens to the rest. Then you realized your HR's stack of papers is those guys trying to check your position.
Oh, I see.
Those are the guys, every time you pass through the HR, they're dropping CVs day in, day out. And you start feeling, I'm not really that good.
Okay.
And your creative director is not really impressed with your artwork of late. You're not churning out that hot stuff that you had in your portfolio. Back I'm starting to wonder, did you steal that stuff from other guys? And then now, that bit of you can't complain hits you. That, I can't, sorry for saying that, I can't bitch. Things are serious. You're going to ask for a raise, but it's all based on which accounts have you won. Because now I'll talk about the pitching process. So you only grow another director only grows if it's been allocated more accounts.
I see.
Doesn't matter amount of work that you're putting in. If you have if you started off with 1 account and you end up with 5 accounts, that's a lot of work. All these guys are paying for my time. So I need something allocated to. But if you don't grow out of that space, like it's which one, people always keep on saying work smart to make it rather than working very hard. In agency, it's like both, But the work hard always surpasses the work smart aspect. Yeah, you could. I remember guys used to save like hard disks of different fonts for all the brands. Like you would invest privately to go and find out this new account I'm getting, what are their fonts, what are their colors, everything, save it, look at their past creatives going all back to the 60s, try to see where they're envisioning to go forward, follow on LinkedIn their creative directors in their own organizations, try to see which posts they're sending through, learn from them, what are they expecting to roll out, so you're prepared. So you do your research, and you'll find that that investment, at the same time, you have to accommodate that there's workloads flowing in. And it's workloads that can cost you so much. And it's not that, like the way a surgeon might be very scared of making a mistake and taking somebody's life. This is where you're scared of having to go take a loan to replace billboards that went out with an error. And you're part of the chain of the guys who delivered it. Because you'll be combined. Hey, account manager, you signed this off? Yes. Yeah, you have to compensate. Our director, you're the one who release this? Yes. Okay. Come. Let's sit down. Let's see how you can work out a compensation for this. Because everything now ties into money. You don't want to be in that group that lost an account. And you're coming daily to get hope that you'll get paid. Well, that's the only account that you had. So you fight for it. I remember that
the pressure is insane.
Oh, you have no idea. And it's at the point of starting life. Fast fathers, maybe fast car loan. So you can't imagine losing it out. There's a money trickling into the account. You feel the relevance, you can feel the impact. But you can't spend.
But the terror is...
Absolutely, because tomorrow you don't know. And it's not, agency world, you don't get fired, you fire yourself.
Explain that.
By me and you working on an account and losing that account is like literally, we are telling ourselves we don't have an employment here.
So how easy is it to lose accounts?
There's other guys who are competing for it.
Other agencies. And they're constantly
bagging the same client day in, day out, that they have a better
major clients.
Yes, they have better creative output than you guys. Right? The client is always looking for you guys to push. So
when a client is looking for, okay, I'm just curious to know. So when a client is pushing for creativity, what are they looking for? For instance, isn't it, my assumption is, say I have a nice logo, I have a nice, a few things are already in place, and there should be stability for say 6 months or a year.
So enter the world of social media.
Okay.
Where it's not that newspaper ad that had to take long to produce. So you're churning out newspaper ad, you'll do like about 5 approaches, and they will deliberate which one works, make some amends, and the creativity still has to shine. Here, you have to remove close to 50 artworks within a short span of time just to produce that one that will be accepted to be posted. And not being unrealistic in terms of this, because it's something that we have done, You end up having now to, because you're competing in multiple aspects. You want your account manager to shine, because you were never seen by the client. The client never talks to you. They talk to the account manager. The account manager is speaking on behalf of what they have understood the client's needs are. So you're creative. You feel like because you've had the client saying that these changes don't work for me. You can see the trail of emails, but you cannot respond on those emails like you. So it's the account manager who has to respond.
Wow.
Even though you're attached to it. Sorry. And you can't send the artwork directly to the client. So you feel like, if I had the chance to sit with the client, maybe I'll understand him better.
But you're cut off.
Yeah, and that's the basis of the agency. because I mean our directors don't have they don't have pazia. I mean that's what the industry was teaching us. Like we don't have the way to handle a client properly and make them feel like, oh, you understand. As you go there, but now this is how. No, I didn't understand. We don't have. Our directors never used to have. It was a creative environment. You walk in the agency, there's boom speakers over there. The guys are wearing flip-flops. Some even have come with their pajamas. It's a creative environment. So we don't have. There's no modality of atutakubembeleza.
Yes.
And actually, the clients who got the best work wanted that environment. They would step into that. They would break protocol and come in. And say, you know what, this lady is not, this guy is not explaining this stuff for me properly. Guys, all I need is this. Give me A, B, and C. You guys go,
let me ask an interesting question. Account managers, are they creative people or are they just people? You know what I mean?
What I would say is that...
Because are there chances that sometimes something is lost in translation merely because they have...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hence the pressure, hence the frustration again.
Oh, I see.
Of finding that you lost an account because the way you were... Because it tended to a point where even an agency is rated by a client. How many reviews have been hard to do, how many times have briefs not been met on point or even met on time on the delivery. And then you're being given a scorecard and you're like, no, bana, that thing, I did it on time. This thing, 2 weeks down the lane, a client sends email, we are sad to tell you that, we are giving you another chance to pitch for this account.
Which is
shorthand for Juna. We are taking this. At least that's a clad with decency. Most of them will just tell you, we are terminating. We found another interested, a better person to go for the business. And you can imagine having invested all that research with a client's account and then losing them. And you have to show face the next day in that office, hoping that the agency will give you a chance to chase for another business. Or they will allocate another account because you guys don't have any now. Meaning
because you have now become completely dispensable.
Yes.
Suppose that was your only account.
Yes.
And so what have you come to the office to do? Oh, wow.
Yeah. And by the time you even allocated another account, it means there's a creative director who's decided this account is not worth anything much for me. It's keeping my guys very busy. We're not making any money from it. Allocate it to those guys who lost an account.
Which puts you in the same awkward place because it is an account they can do away with.
Yes.
And you can go with it.
Yes. So you wake up every day, you're a bunch of 5 creatives, art directors, and you have your DTP guys down there. And you realize that we have to do everything just to maintain these accounts. We don't know how we'll do if we don't have these accounts. So you listen to the ground. Who's the new marketing director? Where did she come from? And then you find maybe she's come from a competitive agency on the other side. So you know very well she's going to try to shift the goalpost in favor for them. So you're trying to make sure your account manager, manze, keep tabs, make sure this. Every day it's anxiety. You'll get that letter on your table saying that account has left. You only have 1 month. We don't know how we'll be able to manage within the system. And if you end up in an agency that especially doesn't have global affiliations, because kind of global affiliation, let me just steal for you guys in agency, global affiliation is, very well, the accounts that will never leave you.
I see.
Yeah. And there will always be, if by luck you end up falling to manage that account, you have actually secured yourself within the system. But you'll only be given that position to be within that account if you've shown the agency that you are a diehard, you can do whatever. Literally, you've walked through the desert like, like Moses and everything. You've come out thirsty, skinny and everything. But here you say, I still have some more in me, That's when you...
Question. So that we don't make the... When we say global affiliation, would we just...
So global affiliation is...
is it like a multinational?
Yes. It was like within... There's multiple networks. There's Omnicom, which has like multiple agencies within it, and they've spread across the world. They hold particular accounts within. Like, I'll give you an example. Visa account was won before it was won in Kenya by an agency. Mm-hmm. All you need is to have an association with the agency that won it out there, because they'll have better contracts with them, long-term contracts, and there's a lot of investment with that. So if you have that account globally and the agency has it, it means that you have Visa for a very good stretch of time. So it's same to Samsung, same to, those global brands.
If you are on it and you are the blue-eyed boy,
exactly,
you have stability.
You have some stability
for that time.
Yes, it still has its pressures, but there's some sense of,
because stability is one of the most challenging. Instability is one of the most challenging.
It is the thing that gets
you guys.
Everybody there. And there's also instability of the fact that seat that you're sitting on, everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. It's not like a law firm where when your name goes with it, you're good.
Yeah.
You're being given these particular accounts, these cases to manage it, you're good. This is your work, your relevance ends after every project you hand in. So this was the pitch that we were working on for Safaricom. Oh, we did the campaign. It's rolled out. It's now going on. Immediately that's done, you are replaceable. Somebody can walk in and say, better fee. I have won more awards. I would want to sit here. There's no loyalty in agency.